So we're going to go ahead and get started. I just wanted to kind of give an overview of each of the panelists that are speaking today. The first one that I have listed is Amanda Elvira Stratton. Amanda is an account manager with Medix. She graduated from CUA in 2019 with a degree in marketing and a minor in sales. She worked closely with Professor Weber to find her dream job at Medix, where she works closely with hospitals and medical groups to provide staffing solutions. We also have with us today Allison Crisculio. She is a recruiter at Medix, and she's a recent 2020 graduate of Catholic University. Allison is a member of the Bush School of Business, where she majored in marketing and minored in management. She graduated as a member of the women's lacrosse team, and she knew she wanted to use her competitive nature as she jumped into her professional career. So she joined Medix in 2020 as a scientific recruiter, but has quickly switched gears and has begun Medix's fast-paced sales program. And in a few short months, she will be selling Medix's recruiting services to biotech, pharmaceutical, and medical device companies in the DMV. And last but not least, we have Steve Berry. He's a director of business development technology sector at Medix. Steve has been with Medix for 12 and a half years. It will be 13 years in September. He has graduated with an economics degree from the University of Maryland and started with Medix in September 2008 as a healthcare recruiter. He spent 11 months recruiting healthcare professionals in the DMV market and was promoted into an account executive role where he focused on selling allied clinical and revenue cycle services. After 2 to 3 years, Steve was promoted to sales manager of the Rockville, Maryland office. And before 2019, he decided to take on a new role to launch the technology division in the DMV. So for the past 2 years, Steve has been overseeing and growing the IT team, and they are looking to double in size in the next year. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much again for being on this panel discussion. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen now and jump into these questions, if that's okay.
That sounds
all
good.
Right. Great.
Sounds great.
So the first question I have is kind of with regards to your journey. I know we went over a little bit about your career path and how you ended up in Medix, but is there any other, experiences that you've had that you feel like is worth sharing with some of the business and technology students that are on today with regards to your journey and why you chose this industry? I'm going to start first with Steve, and then we'll go to Amanda and then Allie.
Well, thank you, and thanks for everyone for jumping on, and we're excited to share our stories and provide some more insight. As related to that question, how I got into Medix and how I got into this industry, well, I can say that I wanted to get into a sales career. I didn't know what. And I did fall backwards into Medix, and I didn't know a lot about the staffing and recruiting industry, and I'm glad I did, and I'm glad I found it because I wanted to do something that involves a little bit more strategy around a sale. I wasn't looking to jump into something where that's more door-to-door sales or anything of that nature. I wanted to do something where I could collaborate and interact with C-suite VPs and understand some of their strategies and how they're looking to grow and how we can tailor our sales strategy to some of their hiring efforts. And Medix offers that, and I think the staffing industry in general does that as well. It just allows you to be a lot more creative in your approach. And the one great thing, and it's really tied to our core purpose, is around positively impacting lives. Mm-hmm. In coming into this industry, I found very quickly that yes, we're selling, we're selling a process, and we're selling the opportunity to hire people into an organization, but we also give the opportunity to positively impact lives on a daily basis, and that's both for talent and for clients. And that's just an amazing feeling to help somebody identify an opportunity for themselves is amazing. It helps put food on the table for families, help them to pay their bills, whatever life struggles they're going through. And we get to be a part of the solution for that. It is great. And also for our clients, we get an opportunity to impact their lives and help them with their biggest initiatives and understand how to support them through some of their struggles they might be having from an internal hiring standpoint, and to make their lives easier and to help them hit their goals and move forward with their initiatives. So those are some of the biggest things that I've seen going into the staffing industry and why I'm proud to be a part of Medix and helping. Over the past 12 and a half years, I've learned a ton of how to help both talent and clients, hit their goals and being a part of that and positively impacting lives.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve. That's wonderful. Amanda, I'm going to shoot over to you next so you can share a little bit with us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Before going into that, I'll just give like a brief overview too of Medix for anyone that may not completely understand what we do, because I know it can be a little bit confusing to those who are not super familiar with the staffing industry. So Medix, we do sell staffing solutions in 3 different industries: IT, science, and healthcare. So Steve's in IT, Allie is in science, and I'm in healthcare. So, we're kind of able to pick each other's brains on different industries. So I kind of was in the same boat as Steve. I knew I wanted to go into sales. I did know I wanted to go specifically into healthcare sales just because that's something that's been in my family for a while. And have, some good relationships with, different types of people in this industry. And I knew, after college, it was something that I wanted to do. So like Ryan said at the beginning, I took Professor Weber's sales class just to gain some more knowledge on sales. And after I took that my junior year, and then I got an internship with a cybersecurity firm, and I did inside sales for 4 months. So during that internship process, I was able to pick out what I liked about the job and what moving forward I don't want to continue to do. So the big eye opener for me during my internship was I really wanted to have relationships with people on a more personal level and not just a professional level. And by that, everything was over Skype, which everything now is over Skype because of COVID. But, at my role at Medix before COVID, I'm able to go into lehospitals and the medical groups and build relationships with the different hiring managers and, C-level people and just, learn a lot from them and, build that relationship. So that's something that I really enjoyed and what I wanted to look for in a role. And it just so happened that Sarah Hankey, one of our internal recruiters, met Professor Weber at a event in Atlanta, and they connected the dots, and I got Sarah's number, gave her a call, and had an interview from there. So that's kind of how my process came about with finding Medix. I was the first CUA student to get a job at Medix, and now we have Allie and a couple other people as well, and I'm at least really enjoying it. I'll let Allie speak for herself, but that's kind of my story, how I got here.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for sharing, Amanda. Allie, we'll go ahead to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Pretty similar to Amanda's kind of journey in general. I did take Professor Weber's class. Knew I definitely wanted to get into sales. Wasn't 100% sure, I guess, where I wanted to go within sales. I knew there was a lot of different options, a lot of different things you could sell in general. And I did have a couple interviews prior to interviewing at Medix. They also were with some IT companies. And I think I just came to realize that selling IT and selling software wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. I wasn't really passionate about it. And I think I never really thought that you could kind of sell a service and sell a staffing and recruiting firm. And I think that was definitely something that stuck out to me. I've always had a passion about healthcare and kind of the whole industry of scientific and being able to kind of help people, and kind of going off what Steve said, our mission statement is positively impacting lives within the scientific kind of industry overall. What a lot of our biotech and pharmaceutical clients are doing right now did some pretty impactful stuff kind of on the whole world in general with everything going on. So it's definitely pretty awesome to be kind of a part of that in general, and kind of helping a lot of these companies build up their teams and kind of seeing what different things they can do that can help the company overall. But yeah, so after taking Weber's class and had my interview with Medix, interviewing with Medix also was different than interviewing with a lot of the IT companies that I did interview with. I think Medix has a really strong family, and we call the Medix Ohana. It's definitely super powerful. Coming into a company, it's like you're joining a family, which is definitely a big selling point as well. And I think that's just kind of where I was kind of sold on Medix. It's really great to be within a company that you feel so welcomed kind of off the bat. But yeah, I'm definitely super passionate about kind of scientific and healthcare in general. I think that was definitely a big driving factor in kind of choosing where I ended up.
No, that's good. That's good. And honestly, I think that ties really well into the next question that I have for each of you with regards to developing talent and with regards to, I guess, kind of giving back and helping others understand their careers and in staffing and moving people forward. What is some advice that you could give college students about the importance of securing an internship or a micro internship or some sort of project? This time I'm going to start with Amanda, and then I'll go to Allie and then Steve.
So I would say getting an internship in any type of industry or any type of role that you're getting into is super important, not just for your resume, but for yourself. Because, like I said, before applying to jobs at Medix, I knew what I was looking for in a company and I knew what I wasn't looking for. So it was really helpful to kind of understand, what I'm getting myself into for the next couple years of my career. And, like I said, I did have an internship with a cybersecurity firm, and I was able to learn the harder parts of sales. So cold calling, getting rejected 24/7, and kind of growing a backbone for that so that, going into my actual career, I'm able to kind of handle that with grace and kind of move forward. And then again, just, understanding what I really want out of my career. That's just as important as what's on your resume, because you're with the people that you work with more than you're with your family and your friends. So you want to make sure that you're, happy with the choice that you made.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Allie, what about you?
Yeah, I think obviously I was fortunate enough to have an internship the year prior to making obviously my career first choice decision. And obviously I know a lot of the students have kind of been struggling with being able to obtain internships due to hiring freezes and all that kind of stuff. But I think I was definitely very fortunate. I think internships are a really great learning experience. Specifically with mine, I had a marketing internship and it kind of made me realize it's not what I wanted to do. So even though I didn't gain specific sale internship experience, I was able to gain experience that kind of led me in the direction that, no, I don't want to go down the marketing path, but I do want to kind of try something different. So I think obviously internships are just a really great learning experience in general. But yeah, that's kind of, I guess, my 2 cents on it.
Absolutely. Great. Steve, on to you.
Yeah, I think internships are highly important. But while you seek out for them, I think it's important to identify the ones that you want to do relative to the industry that you're getting into. So if you're looking to get into sales, make sure you're doing your research on the organization. Do their values, their core values match yours? Do you, are you excited to learn and understand what they do and what they sell as a product or a service? And my advice is, if you are fortunate enough to get into an internship, take advantage of them. Take the opportunities to learn the hard things about sales. Amanda mentioned it earlier, and she had it in her internship when she was selling in cybersecurity. She was dealing with cold calling, prospecting, negotiating, building a territory. My advice is, if you get that opportunity in that type of internship, take full advantage to learn as much as you can during the time you have. And I know internships last maybe around 2-3 months. That time flies. So while you're there, identify a mentor that you can latch onto to learn. It is. I was not fortunate enough to do an internship while I was in college. I bartended. That taught me a couple of things, I guess, about sales. But the opportunities you can get in that type of environment, they're going to help you when you get into the real world, like Amanda and Allie mentioned, and learn about it and understand when you find that mentor, ask them, what else can you do when you're in that internship? There's going to be the bare minimums of responsibilities that you're going to do as an internship. There's only so much that you can do and you're going to be responsible for, but you're not going to find out or figure out there's more if you don't ask. Mm-hmm. So, be intentional about, your time in your internship and just take full advantage of it because it will help you.
That's great. That's great advice. And along with that, do you guys have any tips for best interviewing practices? I am going to start with Allie, and then I'm going to go to Steve and Amanda.
Yeah, I think someone that is pretty fresh out of the whole interviewing process. I think interviews seem a lot more intimidating than they actually are. Interviews are just obviously the company trying to get to know you to see if you're going to be a good fit for their company in general. So I think obviously being yourself and not trying to be someone that you're not is definitely a key point. I also think asking a lot of questions in the interview, usually at the end of the interview, there'll be an opportunity for you to ask questions. And I think that's kind of where you should be able to kind of dig in on, I guess, questions that'll make you better understand the company culture, and if it's going to be a good fit for you overall. And then I guess just kind of a side note, something I learned definitely from Weber's class was tell stories, make your interview, use examples, kind of paint a picture of what your experiences have been in the past. It kind of it gives the interviewer kind of a better picture of who you are and kind of what you experience.
Great. Awesome advice. Steve?
Yeah, a lot of the same answers that Allie just had. Have fun, be yourself. She said interviewing can be, the idea of interviewing is scary. I think our interview process is fairly unique, and Allie and Amanda went through it. We have, it's called our top grading methodology. It's a lot more collaborative. It's more of a conversation than an interview. But while you're in the moment, from a mental preparation standpoint, make sure when you are interviewing, you're not sure what questions are going to be asked, but always prep yourself mentally of like what could be asked and what are some life examples that I can pull from not maybe some life events or even from your time at Catholic University that you can pull to elaborate on that would match to what we do in a sales environment. Those are some, just based off how we interview and what we look for, those are some I think some good ideas and tips that you can bring going into an interview with whoever you guys are looking to join. So, but again, just have fun with it. It's look at it as more of a conversation. Be yourself. Be energetic. Act like you want to be there, and just make sure you're doing your research on the organization to ensure you know exactly what they do and what their services are.
Yeah, that's great. Really quick before we go to Amanda, I just wanted to say along with doing your research, I was just talking about this in the last career talks with liberal arts. It really helps when you're trying to figure out what questions to ask. The employer, the person you're interviewing with, it kind of helps open you up when you're having these discussions and having that conversational interview. And it helps you go a little bit deeper and you'll have, of course, those questions that you prepared, but it won't be so surface level because at that point you would have been able to take the research and how you were able to grasp onto different things in the conversation you were hearing to really have some meaningful questions to ask. And then it will really feel like you've gained information and the person interviewing will feel like you were actually engaged and participating as well. So that's really great, Allie and Steve. Okay, I'm going to go into Amanda now.
Yeah, Allie and Steve pretty much hit everything already. I would say the one thing that I would add is to be prepared to answer how you would be an asset to that team and to that company. And that's something that I kind of learned actually while already having my career at Medix. And at Medix, when you start out as a recruiter and you choose to go into sales, there's an interview process that goes along with that. There's a lot of internal interviews, which honestly are really good just to, make sure that you're keeping up with that, and so for me, my boss asked me, what are you going to do if we promote you into sales? What's your plan? How are you going to build your territory? What's your organization process and things like that. So I would go in prepared, also having knowledge on the company and your day-to-day of the role that you're actually applying for. But with that, what are you going to do? How are you going to organize your day? What are you going to accomplish within 30, 60, 90 days? And things like that. So the more money and the more revenue that you're bringing in, the more revenue your boss is going to bring in, the more revenue the company is going to bring in. So they're going to look to see what you're going to do to make a difference and impact the company.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move into the next question. And that is with regards to this pandemic that we're facing overall as a world, not just a nation. And we operate in a global market, right? And with that being said, I want to know how it has altered internships, how it's altered the job market, and what are some ways students can go about securing experiential learning that is beneficial to the sales industry. I'm going to start with Steve this time.
Yeah, the world we're in now is it's crazy. We're on a Zoom call going through, career advice where this would be something we're doing in person. No one's ever been part of what we're going through, and it's it's a unique experience. And scary, but there are definitely things that you can do to help yourself get ready for either the next internship or the next role. My advice, sales takes experience, right? To actually do the role and it's going to take some real life experience to understand what you're actually doing and to get better and to learn and everything of that nature. But there are other things that you can do in order to master your craft and make sure you're prepared and ready. My one advice is to start reading. And if you know that sales is something you want to get into and is an industry that you're going to want to master, my advice, start reading sales books and leadership books. It's going to help substantially and get you in the right mind frame. And you're also going to learn some nuggets. And on top of that, honestly, if I'm interviewing somebody and they're coming mentally prepared and understand, hey, these are some books that I've read that I've gotten a little proactive with because I know this is the industry I want to get into, I'd be highly impressed. I have some examples, some books that I have jotted down here of that I can, and Ryan, I can send these out to you for you guys to look up. But, anything written by Jim Collins. Jim Collins is an author that is geared more towards sales and business professionals. So Good to Great by Choice are two that I've read that are very strong. My favorite is The Challenger Sale. It teaches you with different ways of how to challenge customers and how to sell differently and be a little bit more consultative with your approach. Hyper Sales Growth. Multipliers is an amazing leadership book that I highly recommend. To Sell as Human by Daniel Pink was great. And then also we have all of our new salespeople that come into the organization and read The Accidental Salesperson. Allie and Amanda, I'm sure you guys read that. It was part of the requirements because it's such an impactful book. So yeah, that's some advice I have on my end.
Yeah, that's great advice. Really good advice. I try to keep a book up every 2 months. That's my MO.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. All right, Amanda, we're going to go ahead to you.
So a big thing for me was using my relationships with my professors at Catholic. Most of the professors at Catholic still have other jobs on the side where, they're building their own companies, have amazing relationships with people in, all different types of industries. So make an appointment and, sit down with them, hear advice from them, reach out to people that they want you to. Obviously, Allie and I are here because of Professor Weber, but we wouldn't be here if, not only did we take his class, but we made the time to sit down with him and explain to him what we wanted. And then he connected us to the correct people. So it's very, any industry, it's very relationship driven. So just reaching out to, family, friends, everything like that, just gaining a bunch of knowledge. Obviously, things are different with COVID. Not being able to go to network events in person, and, things like that. But I think, we've been in this situation for about a year now, and people are, starting to kind of realize that we can do things like this over Skype and over Zoom. So, at this point, I think that more companies are starting to hire. I know we're hiring like crazy. We're all just kind of, this is the new norm. So I know that our company is hiring like crazy, and other companies are as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Amanda. That's good. Connecting with faculty. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then use me and Allie and Steve also to your advantage. Me and Allie were in this situation, just a couple years ago. Allie last year, me 2 years ago. So we're able to, help you guys out as well, for sure.
Wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Allie, we'll go ahead to you next.
Yeah, no, I think Steve and Amanda kind of hit the nail on the head. I have just completed, I just finished reading The Accidental Salesperson. So kind of what Steve went off of. I never really thought that reading a sales book would be that beneficial. I feel like I was never a huge reader, but I've made a kind of like a New Year's resolution that I'm going to read at least like 4 books a year, 1 book a quarter. I think reading is something that you kind of absorb so much information that you don't even realize it. And then kind of going off of Amanda's point as well, I think networking is something that's been really key for me, especially being in kind of the recruiter seat now, but and kind of moving into the sales. But I think if any of you are targeting a company that you really want to work for, look where they went to school, see if there's any Catholic alumni from them, connect with them, hop on a call and just kind of talk through their day-to-day, learn more about their company from kind of an internal position. You don't have to obviously ask all these questions in the interview, kind of prepare before that and get more information about the company from an internal source. I bet if any of you reached out to a Catholic alumni at any sales position or any sales company or any business company in general, they'd be 100% willing to hop on a call and just kind of talk about their day-to-day, their experience. And it can always just obviously be beneficial to connect and grow your network.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great feedback. And I guess this kind of ties into the last question that I have for you guys, and then we'll open it up to questions from students if they have any from there. How do you foresee your industry's job market evolving as a result of what has kind of come from COVID-19? And then from that, I guess, as it specifically pertains to medics and the different opportunities that are available for hiring. And we will start with Amanda this time, and then we'll go to Allie and Steve.
So for the healthcare market, we were hit really, really hard in Q2. I had a bunch of talent working at a specific hospital in New York City called Hospital for Special Surgery, had to lay all of them off. So when I lay off these candidates, I am no longer bringing in revenue for myself, for commission, and obviously towards the company and to my team. So some other people on my team also had to lay off, people from different hospitals and different medical groups. So it definitely was a bit of a struggle for us for 2-3 weeks. We were like, what are we going to do? Elective surgeries aren't happening. They don't need our medical assistants, medical secretaries. They don't want temps, in there right now with everything going on. So we kind of had to get creative as a team and as a company as well. So by reaching out to different industries that we normally wouldn't kind of dive into before COVID, we were able to kind of build up our revenue again. And now we're bringing in more money than we ever have before. But, with that, obviously, we were able to work very, very well together, our whole company. I'm sure Allie and Steve can talk a little bit more about it too, but it was really impactful to see because, I'm sure a lot of people, struggled during that time. And, me and some of my teammates were worried, are we going to lose our job? And I feel very lucky. I still feel very lucky that I still have a job and we're able to make it out of Q2 and better than ever. So it definitely was kind of a tricky time, but moving forward, I think it's kind of benefits us because we have our toes in, the water now. And, we've touched all these different industries and I think we'll be able to work with them for a long time. So, it definitely was hard at first, but like I said, things are looking really good for us in the future.
Nice. Great feedback. Allie, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, I think, just starting in August, seems like we've never been more busy. Specific within science, we've been breaking new accounts, we've been bringing in new customers. Being in the recruiter chair and having an account manager, he's being creative and finding different opportunities to bring in new business. I know he's done a number of different COVID testing projects, vaccine projects are going on. There's just so many different opportunities that Medix is just being creative in a time like this. And I think specifically within the science industry, obviously some of our clients are doing vaccine related projects. They're coming up with new therapies and all these different kind of things within obviously science in general. So it's definitely a super exciting time for Medix in general and the science industry overall. But I think Medix has definitely been super creative with coming up with different opportunities to continue to grow our company in general. And kind of like Amanda said, we are hiring like crazy. We have a lot of openings and we're looking to continue to grow the Medix team overall. So I think 2021 is going to be a good year.
Great. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, so I can speak a lot more to the IT industry and as opposed to healthcare and scientific. So when prior to the pandemic, unemployment rate within IT in particular was around 1%. For skill sets that we are seeing a huge demand for, like software engineering, application development, business intelligence, those unemployment rates were pretty close to zero. So what that means is there are a lot of jobs out there and very limited amount of supply of talent. And so the job market was very strong back around 2019 going in the start of 2020. When the pandemic hit, things were great. We're hiring a ton from an external standpoint, seeing a lot of projects. IT shut down. We went from about 1% to, I would say, around Q3 and going into Q4 went into about 3-4% unemployment rate within IT, which we haven't seen in decades, and which created a large supply of talent and a very, very low supply of opportunities. So, but however, during that time, we did not have the opportunity to link ourselves to COVID-related projects or anything related to vaccination. Like Amanda and Allie were tied to projects where they were placing temperature checkers into organizations, and we were able to get creative through Medix to identify those opportunities and projects. We just didn't have that. We weren't in that position within IT. We took this time to evaluate who we need to be selling to and which industries. And honestly, that made us so much better from a sales standpoint. So our strategy now is linked to more so digital transformation efforts for organizations. If you get into the IT, you'll start hearing the term digital transformation a lot. And we kind of planted our flag from a recruiting and pipeline standpoint to those type of skill sets. And we're seeing a ton of success there. And our messaging to our customers is a lot different. It's a lot more consultative. And we're positioning ourselves in a different way than we were before, which is fantastic. Now, job creation is changing within IT. We're seeing a huge uptick in the amount of jobs that are being created, specifically to digital transformation, application development, software engineering, BI, anything related to AI and robotic process automation. We're seeing a huge shift there for various industries. Healthcare is a big one there. We're doing a lot of work with hospitals and health systems relative to AI and RPA, which is robotic process automation. We've linked ourselves to the research and biomedical community. We're doing a lot within manufacturing. So we're seeing a ton of optimism within IT, and it's an exciting time to be a part of it. Because a lot of the projects that are shipping through COVID are starting to now look at technology as a demand to bring in, because they're going to need one, to build their infrastructure for a lot of these projects, and they're going to have to hire a ton of data scientists, application developers for these COVID-related projects that are starting to launch. So, like Allie and Amanda mentioned, we are hiring because we are seeing a ton of growth. And we are anticipating a lot of growth in 2021 going into 2022. And I can't be more excited to be a part of what we're doing and what we're growing. And so yeah, a lot of optimism, which is good.
Great. Yeah, lots of sunshine ahead. That sounds wonderful. Okay, well, at this time, I definitely want to thank Steve and Allie and Amanda for their expertise and their insight. It truly has been just so beneficial, a real wealth of knowledge. And I wanted to open up the floor to any of the CUA students, or if we have some recent alumni that are on, if they have any questions for our panelists. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor now. No question is too big or too small. So if you have one, fire away.
Hi, how you doing? I was wondering, you guys have different sectors. You have the IT sector, the healthcare sector, and a few more others. How do you assign new employees, new recruiters to a certain sector that you know that they're going to be able to thrive in when they first get in there?
Yeah, I can jump in on that. So yeah, you're correct. We do have a number of different industries that we sell into. The one thing I love about Medix, before I answer the question, is that yes, we do sell in different sectors, but we all work together. We all collaborate and understand we can go into one organization and sell a number of different services. And we work together to make sure that we're leveraging that based off our expertise to do that. Now, your questions around like, who do we pick to put into certain situations? Honestly, it's really depending on the business opportunity. For yourself, it's really not a matter of like, hey, we think you're going to be a better fit for science, or hey, you're going to be a better fit for IT or healthcare. It's really what's the biggest opportunity is in front of us at that time, based off the territories that we're in and the opportunities we're seeing for growth. So if we see there's a huge opportunity in a territory where we haven't had a lot of success, or we don't have a lot of focus for scientific in, say, Baltimore, that's an area we might link you up to. When you join the organization, you do start off as a recruiter, so you are going to have a certain discipline that you're aligned to, which is great because you're going to be able to become an expert in what you're recruiting, and build a pipeline, understand the industry, and do your research. I would say 9 times out of 10, if you come in and you start recruiting within IT, chances are you might have a bigger opportunity to sell in IT. And the same for scientific and healthcare, is where you feel the most comfortable, right? And where you've built your pipeline, your network. But based off where we choose to put people is really based off the opportunity that's going to help not only the organization be successful, but most importantly, yourself.
Thank you.
Great. That was an awesome question, Gavin. And at this time, do we have any other questions? If not, I just want to take the time again to just say thank you. Thank you for your time, Steve, Amanda, and Allie. And you've got some claps going on in the chat here. It was a great conversation. And MEDEX, for all of our students that are on, will be participating in the career fair at the end of the week. So they do have schedule open with one-on-one sessions and group sessions that are available for you to sign up with. Also, if you participated today, your resumes, if you've uploaded them to Handshake already, I have them, and they will be sent to Steve, Allie, and Amanda. If I do not have it, just email careers@cua.edu and just put in the chat Career Talk with MEDEX. I'm sorry, in the subject box, Career Talk with MEDEX. So that way I have your resume and I can connect you appropriately with the MEDEX team here. We're also going to share the recording with our CUA students who have registered for the career fair, but may not have been able to participate in the panel discussion today. So they'll also have access to this great information and insight in preparation for the fair later on this week. But at this time, I would like to thank you all once again, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and good luck with Career Week to all the rest of the students.